The modern clock. How was life before the modern clock? Well, had clocks never been invented, our lives would be drastically different. Our modern day and what we believe and think as accurate clocks have not always existed. What was it like before, and what did people use? For example, some of the biggest discoveries we make are in the domain of space. As Einstein said, space and time are always related, so without an accurate sense of time, all revelations that we have made could have never been possible. Before the modern clock, there were sundials and water clocks, as well as candle clocks, which were originally made by the Mayans, Greeks, Romans, and the Egyptians. However, all of these clocks had their faults and disadvantages. The sundial was not able to work at night or whenever there was no sun. The water clock needed a constant flow of water, or the measurements would be off. And using a candle clock would just mean that a slight breeze of wind would put your measurements off. All in all, even though these clocks were rather accurate, they were not accurate enough to help us with the experiments that we do today, and would be unreliable. I highly doubt that the inventions of the laptops, televisions, and just about all our electronic gadgets would have existed. Catalysts. Our modern day clock germinated from the idea that one man had. In fact, many ideas did help revolutionize the ancient clock into what they are now. It is said that the sundial clock had quite a bit of influence on the modern clock. For example, by studying the format of the clock, you would realize they resemble quite a bit. Both hands that move and tell us what time it is by the marking that they are above. The Babylonians and the Egyptians developed the vital concept of time when they figured out that the day is 12 hours long as well as the night, that 1 hour is 60 minutes and that 1 minute is 60 seconds. They figured this out by looking at the relationship between the radius and circumference of a circle. This discovery was a real milestone as it allowed the first sundial clock to be put into place by the Egyptians. The Revolution. In 1656, our hero Christian Huygens and a famous horologist created what we now know as the modern clock, which was driven by the need of the church and the urban labor force. Huygens did not create the clock that we have in our houses today, as in the round, fancy, new generation looking ones. No, he made the first pendulum clock, which works in just the same way as our clocks run these days. All he really had to do was, well, put a couple pieces together, put a couple formulas together, and ta-da! So, the actual process lasted no longer than a couple of years. The effects brought about the invention of digital watches as well as stopwatches, and, well, obviously helped us a lot. The cities may have become more organized, churches would know exactly when to pray, and I can imagine at one point one loud bell would ring and the entire city would wake up or knew it was time to sleep. But these are short-term effects. On the long term, as I had mentioned before, scientific discoveries were made possible. In fact, just about every scientific discovery was made due to this. So, what now? The inventions of this object will most definitely lead to the creation of plenty more ingenious scientific discoveries. For example, from the accurate graphs that we were able to get today, they were done by the accurate timing of the clocks that we have today. They also brought about new technologies and new formulas which will help us in the future. All in all, the birth of this enhanced version of the clock